Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the final session of the Pell City Chamber Workforce Readiness Series. I am Dr. Marilyn Carroll, and I want to start today by saying something sincerely. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying curious, and thank you for being the kind of business owner and community member who invest in the people around them. Today, we close out our series with what I believe is one of the most urgent conversations in business right now: workforce retention and adaptability. How do you keep great people? How do you build a culture that can grow and change alongside technology? And how do you make your business the kind of place where people choose to stay? Let us get into it. Before we dive into today's content, let us take a moment to honor the journey we have been on together. 5 sessions, 5 conversations, and a community that showed up consistently to do the hard work of preparing for the future. In session one, we cut through the noise about AI and got honest about what it actually means for small businesses. In session two, we talked about why change is so emotionally hard and what adaptability really looks like. Session three, we got hands on with the tools: ChatGPT, Copilot, Canva AI. In session four, we made the case that human centered leadership matters more than ever in an AI economy. And today, we close with the question that ties all of it together: how do you build a business where great people want to stay and grow? I want to start with a quick reflection. Think about the last 4 sessions. What is one thing you are already carrying with you? Something that has shifted in how you think about AI, your team, or your business. Let us start with a hard truth about retention. People are not leaving their jobs because of money alone. The research is very clear on this. The number one reason workers disengage and eventually leave is that they feel uncertain about their future. They do not know if they belong. They do not know if they have a future. And in an era of rapid technological change, that uncertainty is everywhere. Here is what concerns me most for small businesses: employees who do not understand how AI affects their role are significantly more likely to disengage. That means if you have not had the conversation with your team about what AI means for your business, you may already be losing them quietly and slowly. And the cost of replacing a skilled employee is enormous, not just financially, but in lost knowledge, lowered morale, and the time it takes to rebuild. Retention is not a human resources problem, it is a leadership problem. And it starts with how you make people feel about their future. Let me walk you through what disengagement actually looks like, because it rarely looks like someone storming out the door. It is much quieter than that. The first sign is when workers stop feeling seen. When you are in the middle of a technology transition, it is easy to become focused on systems and tools and processes. And without meaning to, you stop noticing the people doing the work. Recognition gets pushed aside. That invisibility is corrosive. The second thing that happens is that workers lose clarity about their role. When AI starts handling parts of what someone used to do, that person starts asking, do I still matter? What is my job now? If you are not answering that question for them, anxiety fills the gap. And the third and most dangerous sign is when workers stop believing in their future at your company. They look around and they do not see a path forward for themselves. No training, no growth conversations, no honest discussion about where the business is going. That is when they start quietly looking for the door. Retention starts with making sure none of these 3 things are happening on your watch. Here is something I want you to understand about the people on your team. And I say this as someone who has spent decades in adult education. Most of your workers are not 22 years old sitting in a classroom with nothing but time. They are adults with full lives. They have families and financial pressures and years of experience that they are proud of. And when you ask them to learn something new, especially something that feels like it might replace them, you are asking them to be vulnerable in a way that is genuinely hard. The fear of looking incompetent in front of coworkers is real. The anxiety about falling behind is real. The exhaustion of juggling work and life while also trying to keep up with technology is real. So, what do they actually need from you? They need to feel respected for what they already bring. They need learning that fits around their actual life, not a mandatory 8-hour training they have to squeeze in on top of everything else. They need encouragement. And they need a clear, honest answer to the question they are all asking: why is this worth my time and energy? So, how do you actually support employee growth, especially in a small business where time and budget are always tight? I want to give you 4 practical steps. The first is to have the conversation. Sit down with your employees individually, not just as a group, and talk honestly about what is changing and what it means for their role. That conversation alone, when done with care, builds more trust than any policy or announcement. The second is to help people identify their transferable strengths. Your longtime employees have skills and knowledge that are incredibly valuable: judgment, relationships, institutional knowledge. Help them see how those strengths connect to what you need next, rather than framing the change as starting over. The third step is to invest in learning. It does not have to be expensive. One course, one demonstration, one afternoon of hands on practice with a new tool. What matters is the signal it sends that you believe in your people's capacity to grow. And the fourth step is to celebrate progress. When someone on your team tries something new, acknowledge it. When someone masters a new tool, recognize it. That celebration tells everyone growth is valued here. Let us take a 10-minute break, stretch, grab a drink, and connect with someone in the room. When we come back, we are going to talk about flexible learning pathways, the connection between belonging and retention, and the most important question of today: upskilling versus replacing your talent. See you in 10. When we talk about learning pathways, I want to push back on the idea that training has to look a certain way. For adult workers who are already stretched, thin traditional training programs, full day workshops, long online courses, mandatory certifications often create more stress than growth. What works better? Micro learning. Short, focused bursts of 10 to 20 minutes that fit around a real work schedule. A quick demonstration before a shift. A 5-minute video someone can watch on their phone. Small and consistent beats long and overwhelming every time. Peer learning is another powerful approach. When you pair an employee who is adapting well with someone who is struggling, something remarkable happens. The learner gets a safe, judgment free space. The teacher gains confidence and ownership, and the relationship between them deepens. On the job practice, letting people try new tools in low stakes situations before they have to use them for real, builds confidence faster than any classroom. And finally, recognize learning milestones along the way. Do not wait until someone has mastered a skill to acknowledge them. The effort of trying is worth celebrating. There is a concept in organizational research that I think every business owner in this room needs to understand, and it is the idea of belonging. People do not just leave jobs, they leave places where they do not feel like they belong, where their presence does not seem to matter, where they could disappear tomorrow and the culture would not notice. In an AI economy, the risk of people feeling invisible and replaceable is higher than ever because technology, by its nature, is impersonal. Your job as a leader is to make the human experience at your company deeply personal. That means including people in decisions about how AI will affect their work before the changes happen, not after. It means making sure every person on your team feels genuinely seen and valued. And it means building the social fabric of your workplace intentionally, creating moments of connection, community, and shared purpose. Belonging is not a nice to have. Research consistently shows it is one of the strongest predictors of retention. When people feel like they belong somewhere, they stay. I want to talk directly about a choice that every business owner is going to face, and in some cases may already be facing. When technology changes your operations, do you invest in growing the people you have, or do you start fresh with new hires who already have the skills you need? I want to make the case for upskilling clearly and directly. Replacing talent is expensive. The research consistently shows it costs 3 to 5 times an employee's annual salary when you factor in recruiting, onboarding, lost productivity, and the knowledge that walks out the door with the person who left. But beyond the cost, there is something more important at stake. How you respond when technology creates pressure says everything about your culture. If your team watches colleagues be let go because they could not keep up with new tools, the message is clear. If I cannot keep up, I am next. That fear destroys performance and trust. The businesses that will thrive in the next decade are not the ones that constantly cycle through new talent. They are the ones that invest in the people they already have, building loyalty, preserving culture, and creating a team that is genuinely ready to grow. Now it is your turn. This is the exercise that brings everything together. I want you to work in small groups for about 20 minutes and think seriously about this question. What skills will your workforce need in the next 3 to 5 years? Here is how I want you to structure the conversation. Step one, identify the three most important things your business actually does, not your mission statement. The real core activities that create value for your customers every day. Step two, for each of those activities, ask two questions. What skills does my team need right now to do this well? And what skills will they need in 3 to 5 years if AI is becoming part of how this work gets done? Step three, identify one clear gap between where your workforce is today and where you need them to be, just one. And then identify your first step toward closing that gap, not a 5 year plan, one first step. When we come back together, each group will share what they found. This exercise has the potential to change how you see your workforce and how you invest in them. An adaptable workforce culture does not happen by accident. It is built deliberately through decisions you make every day as a leader. Let me walk you through the 6 pillars of a culture that retains people and grows through change. Psychological safety: when people can speak up, ask questions, and make mistakes without fear, they stay curious and engaged. Continuous learning: when learning is not a one time training event, but part of how you operate every week, your team stays sharp and ready. Transparent communication: when people know what is changing and why before the rumor mill starts, they trust you. Shared purpose: when your team understands what you are building and their role in it, technology becomes a tool in service of something meaningful rather than a threat to their place in it. Recognition and belonging: when people feel seen and valued, they stay. And resilient leadership: when you model adaptability by responding to change with curiosity rather than fear, your entire team takes that cue. Culture is not what you write on a wall, it is what you do every single day. Before we close, I want to give you 3 questions to carry with you, not as homework, but as a compass for the work ahead. The first question is, what is one thing you will do differently in your business starting this week? Not next month, this week. The second is, who on your team needs a conversation about their role, their growth, their future that you have been putting off? Name that person, commit to having that conversation. And the third question is the biggest one. What does it look like for your business to be genuinely ready? Not just for AI, but for whatever comes next. Because the truth is, AI is just the most visible change happening right now. There will be others. The businesses that thrive are the ones that build cultures of adaptability, communication, and continuous growth. I also want to share a glimpse of where this series can take us because this is not the end, it is the beginning. The AI Readiness Bootcamp, employer cohorts, workforce certifications, youth pathways, all of these are on the horizon. The Pell City Chamber is building something real here, and I am honored to be part of it with you. Here is what I want you to take with you from today's session and from this entire series. Retention starts with making people feel seen, valued, and clear about their future. Watch for the quiet signs of disengagement and respond before they become exits. Honor adult learners by meeting them where they are with flexibility, respect, and a clear purpose. Choose upskilling over replacement whenever you possibly can. Build belonging deliberately. It does not happen on its own. Design learning pathways that fit real lives, not ideal ones. And know that the most adaptable culture you can build is not a culture that resists change. It is one that has learned to move through change with confidence together. Take this handout back to your team. Have the conversation. These principles are not theoretical. They work in businesses just like yours, in communities just like Pell City. And with that, we close the Pell City Chamber Workforce Readiness Series. 5 sessions, 5 weeks, hundreds of conversations about the future of work in this community, in your businesses, and on your teams. I want to say something to each of you directly. The fact that you were here, that you showed up, stayed curious, asked hard questions, and were willing to sit with uncertainty, that is not a small thing. That is what leadership looks like. That is what community looks like. The future belongs to communities that prepare for it together, and Pell City is doing exactly that. Please stay for the networking reception, connect with each other, exchange ideas, and keep these conversations going long after today. Thank you for the privilege of being your guide on this journey. I am Dr. Marilyn Carroll, and I am so proud of this community.